Hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, Whale fam. I'm your host, HeatherHrz. I'm here with James Livitski for today's Artist Fireside chat. Welcome, James. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey into making art and how you found the crypto art world?
Okay. So it started about, I would say 18 years ago. I got the first Photoshop and my brother and I, we would make terrible movie mock-up posters. We didn't know composition posters or anything, but we were just excited to make movie posters. And I kind of fell in love with Photoshop and like just putting things together back then. And then about, I would say 7 or 8 years, I kind of just did whatever, like random jobs. I never really touched Photoshop or digital art again until I was studying architecture. And then I got Instagram and I started seeing people making digital art with just their phones. I thought it was really exciting that you could make art with your phone. So I would reach out to these other artists and ask what apps they use to make these things. And everyone was super helpful. And from there, it kind of just took off because I would make this art on my phone. I posted on my Instagram, and then I would have bands and brands messaging me, asking me to do pieces for them. But I'm like, well, I make it on my phone, so I can't really do that. It's not very professional. So then I decided to jump back into Photoshop and like the Adobe suite, and then really teach myself everything that I learned 7-8 years ago. And then from there, it kind of just snowballed into what I do now. So I'm self-taught, and I ended up dropping out of architecture because I enjoyed doing this way too much. Like I liked architecture and I liked doing blueprints and everything and logos, but I don't know, something like this was just it was calling me. So then I just kept at it, and then it's kind of is where I am now. So it started out just kind of my phone, and then here we are.
That's crazy. So this is made with your phone.
But
that's what you started off with.
Yeah. If you go deep into my profile here, like really deep, it'd be my phone. Yeah.
That's really cool. And you mentioned that you did some posters for bands, or is it anybody that we would know, or?
So I had a job for about 3.5 years where I would just make concert posters for bands and artists and DJs that would come into Toronto.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was mostly electronic music. I did a couple of music festivals. I'm trying to think, like Diplo. I mean, I did an after party for Diplo. And,
oh, cool.
I don't know, there's just a whole bunch of DJs. And then I ended up doing some artwork for the actor Elijah Wood. I did some art for his he's also a DJ.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he had, or I don't know if he still has the group, but they were called Wooden Wisdom. And it was him and a musician, Zach Cowie, and they would just spin records and stuff. So me and my buddies ended up making some artwork for them, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's been a cool journey, and it's actually really crazy to see all my old art.
There's so much. I'm like, I can't wait to go slowly through some of these because
there is.
I want to ask you about the process too, and their gorgeous work.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to look at. I used to be very put as much as possible into one, and then over the years I've learned that less is kind of more. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. It's really neat to see this.
And so, how were you introduced to the world of crypto art after getting into creating movie posters and becoming more of a freelance artist?
It was just brought to my attention probably October of last year, or September, October. It was pretty late, but I would see artists that I follow on Instagram that I've worked with in the past, and they would be posting their stuff with super rare, but it just I didn't really know exactly what it was, so I didn't really look into it. And then in December, I have a buddy who does this kind of stuff as well. And we were just talking, and I saw that he had posted a piece, and I decided to take a look at more into what it was. And it just seemed like a crazy opportunity. I mean, he's had like a lot of good fortune posting his art in this space, and we got talking, and then I was just like, yeah, I feel like this is definitely like, I think the next step for digital artists for sure. Like, it's just, I'm seeing people's lives being changed by the art they make, and I think that's absolutely amazing. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, I'm just the same. I'm like floored by the success that some of these artists are having in the NFT space. Like, you know, they're making sales on things that artists who've been, you know, professional artists who've been at it for like 15, 20 years or more, you know, have never made that much on their art, even collectively.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just really nice to see the digital art kind of being taken seriously for once, you know. Like, I think digital artists are used to making like, you know, VJ clips and not making a whole lot of money, like doing graphic design or like album art, and the budget's always so tight, and no one really pays you for your work and your imagination and everything. And so
No.
I think it's amazing. Like, all these artists that I've been following for years, like, they're just killing it, and it's exciting to see. Everyone deserves it. They've all worked hard, and like, you know, you're paying for the imagination. I think when you buy digital art, I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know. Just because it's digital, it doesn't mean that it has no worth, you know. And I think it's so awesome to see. Yeah, these artists just killing it. It's just exciting, and like, I'm just starting to get into it. But like, I love seeing these artists kill it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really heartening to see, and also like the added layer of there's like this mutual support between artists, and between platforms, and with spaces like the whale community, and even Token Smart, and like all the platforms, Discords. I see how people just are so willing to help each other, and to help new artists too. It's just very different than the way things are in the traditional art world. It's like, you know, I mentioned it in another chat, like a 3D artist might not, you know, be so keen on promoting another 3D artist because they're also a 3D artist. But now it feels like that doesn't really exist in this space. There's artists that are maybe playing with similar mediums or tools, but they're even collaborating together, or just cross promoting. And
I think that's super important. I think that's what excites me about this is I really started getting back into my Twitter in December and just engaging more like I used to on Instagram, because like Instagram back in the day, it wasn't about algorithms or anything. Like, if someone followed your art, they would see your art. But now it's like, is my art good enough to fit the algorithm so you can see my art? So it's it kind of reminds me of when I first got Instagram, because there was a community of like digital artists that would support each other and share their work and work together. And then it kind of just faded out because Instagram kind of just, I don't know, Facebook bought them and it kind of went downhill. But now I feel like there's 3D artists that want to get together, or just any artists at all, like digital artists that want to get together and make artwork. And I think it's really exciting. And I think everyone's kind of just lifting each other up and reposting their work and just complimenting their work. And I don't know, it's exciting.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, actually, I'll ask you that question. I mean, you even though you're somewhat new to the space, I still feel like, you know, even if you got into it in October, like, it's still early for crypto art and the NFT space. But in recent weeks, we've been getting a lot of mainstream attention. With NBA Top Shot, people are starting to understand what NFTs are and are like, oh, I can actually make money with this. And then you have people like Gary Vee and Terry Crews, like, with their ears to the ground on it. What do you think? How do you think that might affect artists and collectors getting the mainstream attention?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly believe, like, yeah, you're gonna have like the bigger people come into the space, because where there's money, people want to be a part of it, right? I mean, you have a chance to make a living, make money off doing art. I don't blame anyone who wants to try to get into it, but I honestly I don't know. I would just say, like, just keep doing your artwork. Like, don't try to, I don't know, I want to say impress people, but I think if you stay true to yourself as an artist, who cares if like these big people are coming into the space and whatever, just keep doing your thing, because yeah, as an artist, I think that's important, and I think that you'll still stand out whether there are big people in the space or not. But you just got to keep doing your art, your work, and yeah, I don't know. I just think, yeah, I don't really see it affecting anyone, but you know, who's to say, really?
Yeah, I like to ask that question because some people feel differently, but I agree. I think it's more, it's positive. It creates more eyes on even unknown artists' work.
Yeah.
It's just attracting attention to the space. So
yeah, exactly. And I've seen, like, you know, Gary Vee post, you know, smaller artists and stuff like that. So, you know, that's huge. Like any sort of like recognition from, you know, someone who's higher up, you know, supporting your work. It's I think it's amazing. I think everyone can benefit from this space, and it's cool because, like, I have the most random people, like, on my Facebook, people I haven't talked to forever, messaging me and being like, "Have you heard of this?" I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." Like, man, I just went and bought an iPad and a stylus, and I'm gonna make art now, because I don't know, like the feeling that anyone, you know, who has an imagination or who wants to make art and could do it for a living is unreal. And yeah, I'm excited for everyone to be a part of it. And it's cool to see the digital art world kind of just come together like this.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think people don't realize, you know, especially people from the traditional art world, they don't realize how much can be done with digital art that can give it like a traditional feeling, you know, like there's tools that make it look like, you know, watercolor or painting or whatever, and you know, a physical painting, if that's what you like. And there's just so many styles within this world that, you know, there's something for everybody. And I think people, you know, have an idea of what digital art is, and they only see it as serving a purpose for like decorating a website or something, and not like this other way of experiencing art.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
and you're totally right. Yeah, it's exciting to see this as like a form of art now. I mean, it is art. I mean, the imagination that goes into every piece of art that I see just blows my mind. Like, I'm coming across artists I've never seen before by being on Twitter and engaging with other artists. And I've made posts where I say, like, just drop your art in here and let me tweet it, just because I want to see the digital art that I've been missing all these years. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool just to like troll Twitter and Instagram and also, you know, just on like OpenSea, Rarible, Foundation, and just browse. And there's just so much amazing work.
Yeah, also because, like, I think there are a lot of artists that, you know, maybe just post on events or Tumblr or DeviantArt or something like that, where like spaces that I might not be very active on, you know, I could be missing all this amazing artwork. So now that people are coming across this and like, oh, I can sell my artwork and maybe make a living off it, I'm coming across like art that I just didn't know existed, and I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing to see it. Yeah,
and I mean, this just like speaking of different ways to experience art with digital. I'm looking at this piece you have on Foundation. It kind of like just gives me this feeling of like being in the metaverse too. Yeah. And was this actually your first NFT minted ever?
Well, I've done a couple collaborations, but yeah, this would be my first solo NFT that I posted. Yeah, I don't know. I spent a lot of time on this one. It's I don't know. It's very me. Like I like to make art that makes people kind of stop for a second. You know, like I think life is so insane right now, and just in general, and it's very stressful. So I try to make pieces that evoke, you know, some sort of emotion of just kind of leaving your life behind for a second, and you can kind of just relax and put some nice tones over it and everything. And yeah, I don't know. I'm happy how this piece turned out. Yeah, I'm definitely happy. It's my first minted NFT, like my solo NFT.
Yeah, I love this one. It really feels like just a like taking a deep breath too, like when the clouds dissipate right there, like yeah, it's really soothing. I love this. Can you talk a little bit about how your style has evolved over time? Because there's these really amazing like digital collages that you've done that have like another feeling, you know, like a mood to them. And do you want to talk about like where your head was at then and now when it comes to making your work?
Yeah, I think like when I first started doing this digital art thing, I mean, I love retro photos and ads, and it just spoke to me. I don't know why, but I also like back when, you know, Instagram first started and people were posting their digital art, there was a lot of collages, so like a lot of them in one piece, and I was, you know, I was kind of teaching myself and learning, so, you know, my whole thing was, it's funny, I actually don't remember making a lot of these, and you're pulling them up, I'm like, yeah, that is pretty cool. I remember making those, but I found that like I really liked putting as much possible into one image. And you know, looking back at it now, I'd probably look at these pieces and be like, oh, I take some of this away and that away. But, you know, looking back, I feel like just a completely different artist. I'm looking at this art and I'm like, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Like, it's nice that I have this like portfolio that I can go back on and just, refer to like this art that I made. It's almost like, I feel like I could be inspired by my old art, making new art now. But I really liked retro advertisements, and I just vintage photos, pinup models, and I just kind of wanted to mix it all in. I don't know, it's cool. Like, and I'm seeing a lot of art on, you know, the crypto art space that's very, very this, and I don't know, it's cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, you can, like we were saying before, there's like something for everybody in the crypto art space. And I think there's a lot of room to just be yourself and create in the way that you want to, because there's so many artists that, you know, the way to stand out is not to copy or, you know, I don't want to say copy, but like to continually do like whatever the flavor of the week is.
Right.
You're going to get lost in the shuffle.
Exactly. And I think that's important to note too, because I think a lot of new artists coming into the space, like if you're trying to mimic a certain style or whatever because you see it selling, that one's cool. I think it might stress you out a little bit. It might make you sad because you don't know, like, because if you're kind of like mimicking a certain style that's already popular in the space, you know, chances are like you might not get noticed because you got these other bigger artists that had that same style. So I'm not saying don't you know, be inspired by other artists, but definitely just, you know, do your own thing and it'll stick. And you'll also just be a lot happier. I think when you're making your art, it'll speak to you more because it's you and not someone else.
Totally. I mean, it's like a hard line to toe when you're an artist, because like you can't necessarily shut out all the voices in your mind and like the thoughts that come up when you're trying to work on something, and you might have influences, or you've heard like a teacher said something and it like for some reason sticks in your mind and you're like, but I don't want to do it that way. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I feel like the best advice and some of the most common advice that we get, it's true. You have to do what feels pleasurable to you and follow that, because otherwise, like, what's the point? You're like spending.
Yeah, exactly. My biggest thing is, like, I would say to any new artist is to just impress yourself, if that makes sense. Like make art that you look at, that you're just making for yourself, and when you're done or at a good spot with it, like impress yourself. Like look at it and be like, damn, that's pretty cool that I made that. Like, because I try to do that with all my pieces. I don't make them with anybody in mind, trying to impress anyone. I make them for myself, and then I get to a point where I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I can't believe I made this, you know. And I think that's important is to make art that that fulfills you, and it inspires yourself, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you think about it, like there's a lot of artists that have like this very self-effacing way about them. Like we don't want to promote ourselves, and certainly don't want to say like, "Oh, my art's the shit." But
Right.
When you think about producing music, like,
Yeah.
excuse me, you know, you're listening back and you're not gonna create something that doesn't make you want to dance or make you feel however you're trying to feel.
Yeah.
So like this oh shucks thing that we do as artists, like just doesn't really help us. It doesn't get us people buying our art. So
You know,
that makes sense.
I think it's hard to market. I mean, for me personally, I think it's hard to market myself. Like, you know, like your art, like if you're trying to make a living off your art, you have to market yourself and your art. And, you know, a lot of people just aren't like that. They just want to make art, post it, and then move on with life. But I mean, in this space, it's I mean, like I said earlier, there's people that I haven't talked to in years, just, you know, messaging me and being like, hey, I bought something to make art. You know, there's all these people now wanting to get into this space. And I don't know. You just gotta, you gotta do it for yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, don't really want to bring it up, but I think with the pandemic and lockdown, it's given people, some lucky people, I would say, having time to create and explore things that they wouldn't have otherwise tried. So, and I think it's also brought more people into this space than you know in the last year than it would have had this not happened this way, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's not, you know, it's obviously not good. There's a pandemic, but it's kind of like a blessing too, in a sense, because like you said, like there are these people who have, you know, ideas and who've never really had the time to explore their artistry and everything. So I think it's amazing to see all these new people just coming into the space and making art. I don't know. It's an exciting time for digital art for sure. And actually, that piece right there, I did with a couple of my buddies, and it was, I think, the piece before this. Maybe I remember this piece because, okay, no, maybe it was, I don't. It was one of these two pieces, but I remember Instagram had featured my artwork, and then from there, it kind of just explode. Like my career just changed when Instagram exploded. Or,
Do you want to talk more about that? About how being featured on Instagram sort of catapulted you and what happened?
Yeah, that's kind of, I had a lot of people messaging me, asking me to do artwork for them, companies wanting to give me jobs. And it was kind of like, I was kind of on the cusp of like, maybe should I try something different, you know, like, because I was self-taught and I was kind of just, you know, I was doing digital art, trying to get into graphic design, but every time I would get a job in graphic design, I wasn't good because I make digital art, not it's a totally different thing. So I did the whole fake it till you make it thing, and it worked. It really pushed me because seeing my art on that stage, you know, worldwide stage, I was just like, I mean, I do it for myself, but you know, damn, if Instagram likes it and they're showing the world. I mean, I have like something, and I should keep pursuing it and not give up on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so you say you were in graphic design for a while. How long were you in that world? And was getting featured on Instagram like the impetus for just walking away from all of that?
No, I think I was, let me think. I was doing just a bunch of odd jobs. Like after I quit architecture, I was still doing the digital art thing, and I wanted to stick with it, but I kind of wanted to make a career out of it too. Like I liked making digital art, but I mean, no one's hiring like a digital artist unless I'm doing like concept art or something. But I wanted it to have like, a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job doing this. So I was like, maybe I'll try to do like actual graphic design. And I remember my first advertising job, I got hired because the CEO was a musician and he liked my art, and I guess he saw something in me. But I remember they asked me to do some banner ads, and it was for Nespresso coffee, which is like a really elegant brand.
Yeah.
And I just like, the imagery obviously looked fine, but then they were like, oh, I had to put some like copy on it and stuff, and my type skills were terrible. And I just remember I gave it to my art director, and she's like, yeah, you know what, this is looking not bad. Like, why don't you just go work on the type a little more? She was being super nice about it, but it was horrible.
Oh no.
Horrible. So that's kind of actually how I learned to be a graphic designer, was just a slew of this is not the greatest, but keep doing it. And then so I kind of became a graphic designer that way. But like, my heart is in digital art. I mean, that's what I love doing. But it kind of led me to where I am now. I work for Universal Music, and I do artwork, and it's the dream job for me because it's my 9 to 5, and I get to make art. So
wow. So you work for Universal Music record label, and you are you creating album art for a living?
Yeah. I do album artwork, and I do vinyls, and digipacks. People still buy those, and I do that. But for the most part, these albums, they take months and months to do. I'm about a year into the job, so I've done about 4 vinyls now, like album art, and it's an amazing job. And I landed the job just right after the pandemic started, so I just feel super fortunate that I was able to land a gig because I had lots of job previously. So it all worked out.
Yeah, and that it's a job that you would actually desire is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, it's like I lost my job because of the pandemic, and I ended up landing my dream job. So I'm like, I mean, I don't know. It was pretty awesome.
That's so awesome. I love hearing about the good things that have been happening for people in this insane time.
Yep.
What is that process like in a corporate environment to create album art? Like, do they have does the artist have an idea? Is it like the record company has an idea? Like, how does that work?
It's different for everyone, but for the most part, I think artists usually come in with an idea, and then I talk with my creative director, and then we'll spice something up. But I mean, I've just been, since I started the job, I've just been working from home, so it's kind of weird in that sense, because I had never worked from home in my life for any job. So it was weird, and I felt very antisocial, kind of like a hermit. And I was just like, it took a while to get used to, but now I'm into it. We have Zoom calls and everything, and we discuss like how we're going to do the artwork and stuff like that, and we get along well. So
that sounds really cool. Like, I'm glad that you got that job, and like, yeah, that's just rare to get an illustration gig too. And also that it feels good. Sometimes people think that they want to do the thing that they love for a living every day, and then it happens.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, it's definitely hard because like I've turned my hobby and my passion into my career. So, I do this kind of stuff for my 9 to 5.
The lines are blurred now.
Yeah, it's hard, and I put a lot of like my creativity into my 9 to 5 job. And when I get off, it's like, I'm tired, like, from being creative, but at the same time, I'm like, but I got to keep doing, those things that I enjoy doing. And I made this path myself, so I kind of have to, find the line.
Yeah, and like, how do you stay inspired? Like, what are some of your creative influences that keep your juices going for working in that kind of environment?
definitely music, lots of music. I like listening to music. I feel like I can listen to a song and then just envision a piece in my head, and then I can go make it. I remember all my dreams, so that helps. My dreams are super weird, and so that helps with making art. Yeah, and then I don't like just the space now, the community, and seeing all this new art. It's super easy to be inspired, and because everyone kind of lifts you up all the time. Yeah, I just I have all the drive in the world now to get off work and make more artwork, and I wouldn't say it's because like, oh, I can make a living out of this, but I think it's because I'm getting that feeling I had when I first started Instagram again, where there's a sense of community where people are wanting to see your artwork, wanting to share it. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been really cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. It's true. Like, there's just no shortage of inspiration in this space, and that sense of community is really like, I get like a physical, like that feeling in your chest, like, or like butterflies in your stomach. You're like, I just feel so excited to like be with these amazing people and like see what they're doing, and it just gives me fuel for what I want to do too. Yeah. So, and we have, I can't believe it's already been over 30 minutes, but we have a lot of questions from the chat. And so for anyone that's had watched me do an interview before, I like to ask the questions as they make sense in the conversation, or sometimes I wait to the end if they don't really flow with what we were talking about. But, as I'm looking at, as I'm scrolling through your Instagram, I noticed this too, and we had another person ask, what is, in many of your designs, you have this circular figure that appears. Does this have a special definition for you?
Yeah, I've always, I don't know, I've always been drawn to, well, orbs, but I think it's something about, I grew up in a small city surrounded by nature, and I think there's something about just these beautiful landscapes with these monoliths. Like, you can't really explain what they are. Like that movie Arrival. I thought that was so sweet. Like, just these beautiful landscapes with these random objects in there. And I don't know why, but it's always been, yeah, I make these pieces and then I love them so much, and I can just look at, they relax me. It's just something about them that just, I don't know. I can't stop putting orbs in landscapes. I don't really know. I don't really have a definite answer for that, but it's something that just, I don't know, speaks to me. Like, just these random objects, and you don't know why they're there. I don't know.
No, I hear that. I think all of us, not just artists, like, we just get like fixated on certain things, and it may or may not have personal meaning, but there's something that's just like fun. I'm sure like there's a fun challenge for you in like creating these like 3D orbs and like making the reflections and like getting lost in that process. Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely something that's been with me since I started doing digital art. These orbs, as an artist, I don't have a style. I can admit that. I've never liked having a style because, I've been a musician most of my life, and I love every genre of music. And I feel like as an artist, what makes you a good artist is if you could take all these different sounds or different types of mediums of art and everything, and just make a piece of art. I don't know. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into having a certain style, because if I ever want to do something different for myself, people are gonna be like, oh, why are you doing this? So and I think it just helps me grow is when I try different styles all the time. You could look at all my art, probably can't pick out that it's me from each piece, maybe because there's an orb in it, but I don't know. I really enjoy exploring different styles of art.
Yeah, totally. For me, it would get, just for me personally, I would get bored intentionally doing the same thing all the time. If it feels good for me, like there's like with your orb, I have stuff that I like to draw that's just fun to draw, but I also personally don't have a style, and I don't know did you go to art school? Or were you trained, or you went to architecture school?
Yeah, I went to art and I dropped out of that, and then actually I did go study graphic design for about 6 months. And I dropped out of that too.
So you know what it's like though when you go to those spaces, they really hammer home like you have to have a style. You have to define yourself visually, and it has to be easily like recognizable. This is a so and so, and there's something about like, yes, you have these different styles here, but there's something about it that feels cohesive, and as you scroll through, it's like this is the same person, just having different things go on. And I mean, our cells are changing every 7 years. They've totally regenerated, so we're not the same people over time, physically and through our experiences. So
yeah, absolutely,
it makes sense not to continually make the same thing all the time, unless that feels good for you to do.
As an artist, I think if it feels right, and you get that feeling when you're making your art, I mean, absolutely go for it. But just for me personally, I don't like having a style, because it doesn't. I feel like I can't explore as much as I want to and learn as much as I can if I'm just kind of doing the same kind of look all the time.
Did you always feel that way about not having a style? Because like personally for me, I was always like the pressure of like, I didn't drop out of art school, so that's probably why I should have. But yeah, like I had moments where I really felt like, oh, I have to find it. It took me a long time to accept that it was actually, that's what worked for me as an artist.
Yeah. So your question, you want to know,
like, did you always feel good about, or like, were you always aware like, oh, I don't have a style, and you were okay with it? Or were you like, did that stop you in some way? And did you have to like overcome like a pointless way of thinking?
Yeah. So there have been times definitely where I've like, oh, I wish I have a style. So, I was more recognizable as an artist and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I always come back to like when I sit down to make art, I just start creating things, and I'm like, this is cool, and this feels right, and I just want to keep doing this. I've tried before where I've done pieces with like, same color palette or maybe the same object or whatever, but it just, I don't know. It just, I'd go sit down and make some more art, and then I would just make something completely different. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I like this. And then I would just kind of roll with that. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I see a lot of these artists in the crypto space that definitely have a style, like all these really successful ones. And I mean, awesome, amazing for them. But I don't know. I can't see myself having a certain style. I just, like we were talking about the orbs, like I can put orbs in my pieces, but I don't know. I don't think I can hone in on one certain style. I wouldn't make me feel fulfilled enough.
Yeah. And I mean, there's part of me, like, I don't know if I said it before in passing, but it's like, I envy people that like just have a way of working that feels good to them, and they just keep doing it. And like, I never was able to do that. Like, I just envy that they love what they're doing and it feels good and it seems natural for them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, it seems so much easier, but I know it's not. Like, nothing about making stuff is easy.
Yeah, I think it's probably more difficult to have a style, to be honest. Maybe that's also why I don't do it. I don't know. But I think to hone in on a style and that be your style all the time, I mean, I gotta imagine that's hard, unless it just comes super easy to you. But I don't think I could do that personally.
Sort of related to that, thinking intentionally about creating, we have a question from the chat. They're asking, do you have a personal ritual to sort of get yourself started when you want to boost your creative process? And if so, what do you like doing before sitting down to just make art?
Good question. I think you have to get away sometimes from your computer to feel inspired. I mean, I'm to blame. I don't do it enough, but I know when I do it, I feel when I sit down to make art, I feel rejuvenated and like I'm ready to make some art. But no, like my thing is kind of just doing it. I don't know, like I just force myself to do it. Like sometimes I'll sit down to go make a piece of art and I won't actually make it for about an hour or two of sitting down until I actually start making something, because I'm either scrolling for inspiration, things that speak to me, that inspire me to make a piece of art, or I'll just listen to music. Like I said earlier, like a song will, spark an idea or whatever. And then there's some days where I'll just sit down and I'll just know exactly what I want to make and I'll make it. But yeah, I don't really have any sort of ritual. I just kind of just do it. Like, it's just, like Beeple always says, like, whether it's crappy or not, just put a piece of art, make a piece of art and post it, I think if you do sit down every day to make a piece of art, or whenever you have time to make art, just do it. And it might suck. And I have like a portfolio of terrible art that I've never posted, that I could probably go back and change. But, I sat down to make something and I did, and it wasn't good. But, there are days too where I make something and it's good enough for me to post. So I don't know. I think it's different for every person, but I think it's important to definitely step away from your computer from time to time and just go for a walk or, whatever, just to kind of feel something different than the computer.
Yeah, totally. I mean, especially when you make digital art, if you're always on the computer for work, like you gotta get time away from that too. I don't know if you saw my expression when you were like, I know I don't do it enough. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? There's so much art on your Instagram. It's like absurd. Like, I'm still at stuff that was like 174 weeks ago. So
it's pretty for sure. And it's cool that you're going through this, because I look at these pieces and some of them I don't remember making, some of them I do. But I definitely feel like it's been a long process for me, but I feel like I'm slowly, very, very slowly finding out what I really like as an artist, but for like new artists and stuff like that, I would say just make whatever makes you feel good and what feels right, and don't compare yourself to other artists and stuff, because you just won't ever feel fulfilled. Like I look at my art when I first started and it's like night and day from what I make now. But I think that's important as an artist, is to grow and find that thing that makes you the happiest, and I don't know, just keep exploring. And
yeah, definitely keep playing, keep trying new things, and you'll never get bored.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question we have is, what are the difficulties in making art for you as a graphic artist, designer, and with photography?
Yeah, it's just, doing it every day. It's like, to be creative every day is very, very draining, and that's why I said, like, go for a walk or do something different that isn't on the computer, like try to get inspired by something else. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just finding like creativity when you've been doing it all day, to sit down and do your own thing. I'd recommend going on Behance or even Twitter, typing crypto art and just looking at what people are posting, try to get inspired. If you're going to be on a computer, like you don't have, like, I do that thing where I'll sit down and I'll just stare at one image and I'm like, I see something here, and then I'll make something out of it. But it's always different. Like, I don't think there's really a defined way of saying, like, how to get over create like the block. I just do it.
Yeah. Just the Nike slogan, "Just do it," is true for everything. It's obviously way easier said than done, but it's really true.
Yeah, like, just, it doesn't have to be good though. That's the thing. It's like,
People has set the bar very high for daily art, but
the thing is too, like, he's been doing it for like 13 years, 15, like crazy amounts of time. And these people, you know, coming into the space now, just making art, or even me, like it's, you know, it comes easy for some people, and then others it doesn't. And I mean, dude's got an insane imagination, so he can make something every day. But you know, a lot of people don't have that ability, and that's totally fine. Like I mean, I don't post a piece of art every day, but I mean, I post and I make art when I feel inspired. Like you know, it's just I have to want to make it, and I have to want to make it for myself and no one else. So
yeah, and I think that there's different ways of you know, there's different methods that artists have to getting themselves to actually put pen to paper, so to speak. And like, you know, the consistency that people have with doing that every day. Like if you do anything every day, you're going to evolve and get really good at it. And and like, you know, there's other artists and creators that have done these like everyday things. Like there's this dude that he writes a song and records a music video every single day.
That's pretty wild.
It's insane. And he's been doing it for 10 years. I gotta send you the link, but he did the thing that I found out about him because he did a song about Baby Yoda, and it's the cutest song ever. I'm actually gonna pull it up and share it with everybody because everybody loves Baby Yoda. It is nothing like Baby Shark. It's a lovely song, and it'll make you love Baby Yoda Grogu even more.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing that guy and being like, wow, you know, it takes the fortitude it takes to do something every day, because like you said, you know, I really like to just do it when it feels right. That's hard to wait for too. Like the muse doesn't always come very often for some people.
Well, so but when I first started making digital art, I was doing it every single day, and I would sometimes make multiple pieces in one day. You know, now not so much because I just with time, and I'm you know, I'm older now and everything. I don't have as much time to do it, and that's okay. But like when I first started out as an artist, I was doing it every day because I was excited, and that's when I was learning. And now I kind of have an idea of the things that I like to create, and you know, I try to sit down on my computer every day after work for, I mean, at least an hour. I mean, I don't do it every day, but I definitely try. I make an effort to sit down for an hour every day on my computer and learn like a new skill, because I feel like digital art is like learning an instrument. I mean, there's always something you can learn to better your style and your skills. And yeah, I mean, I just got into the 3D space about 2 years ago, like seriously, and it's pretty vast and intense. But I try to sit down every day for an hour and watch a YouTube tutorial or just do something for 20 minutes, like anything, because like you said earlier, like what is it, like 10,000 hours to be good at something, like, and you can't be good overnight, and you definitely can't compare yourself to people who've been doing it for 13 years every single day. So
no, don't do that. You'll just start to feel bad about yourself. Compare and despair in that respect. Yeah. So some couple more questions. We're already at 50 minutes, which is crazy. I don't know how time is flying, but someone said, how likely are you to recommend a digital artist that is grinding to get clients to join the crypto space and the metaverse?
How likely am I, like a
would you like tell somebody who's like, oh my God, I hate my graphic design job, like what am I gonna do? Would you be like, calm down?
Yeah, I don't want to say quit your job, but I would say, you know, tap into it, see, you just try it, because you'll never know if you don't try. I mean, if you try to get in the space and you're making like 100 grand on a piece of art, then yeah, okay, quit your job. But I wouldn't say I just because people are making millions and whatever, I wouldn't say quit your job, because it's not guaranteed, obviously. So but I would say definitely get into it and try it. Try to sell a piece, or you know, do anything, just try it out, and if it works out, then maybe consider, you know, quitting your job. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't say quit your job. Keep your job and keep doing this, and then if this works out, then quit your job.
Yeah, totally. Sorry, I'm scrolling through your art and seeing things evolve even more, and noticing like that you're using, different mediums, and like this is like more, there's like photo collage and 3D happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like what tools do you use to make these pieces?
Yeah, I use a little bit of everything. Funny enough, I still use my phone on almost like 95% of my pieces. I still tone things in my phone. Like I have apps that export high res. So I don't know. It's just because that's how I started. I mean, I know that space of like apps and everything that I've used to kind of like that piece there. Actually, that's a funny piece because I made that in, I don't know what I say, I made that in like 20 minutes or something, but I had 20 minutes and I was like, I'm gonna make a piece of art and I'm gonna make it like how I used to make art. Cause I made that, 2 years ago. And I hadn't done a style like that in a long time, but I was at work and this idea popped in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna make this piece of art. I got 20 minutes and I did it. So that right there is an example of, you just give yourself any sort of time during the day to teach yourself something or learn, and you might get something like that. But sorry, what was the I got sidetracked.
Somebody, New Fathom said 20 minutes. Like they can't believe that was done in 20 minutes.
And that's all Photoshop on the phone. Yeah.
The question was, now I can't remember which question it was, because the last question that I asked you was how likely are you to recommend a digital? I asked you what tools have you been using to create these pieces? That's what I asked next.
Yeah, so mostly, I mean, Photoshop. I've been doing the 3D stuff, so you've been doing that. Still use my phone. All the previous pieces, like the 3D pieces I used to make, is in a program called View, and View is I don't know. I guess it's kind of similar to like Cinema 4D and Blender and all that kind of stuff, but it's mostly for landscapes. And it's used on a lot of movies and stuff like that. So that's actually, I started using View, I think back in 2014 or 15. And that's actually, I think, how the orb pieces started coming together. It was in that program. I don't use it anymore, but yeah, I would say mostly Photoshop, Cinema 4D, After Effects, and then I tone things in my phone.
So you used, for this piece, you used Photoshop and After Effects?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that one took a long time. I was definitely, because it was my first NFT drop, and I had to make something that felt right to me, and that was it. Yeah, that's the piece I came up with.
Yeah, it's really beautiful and mesmerizing too. Yeah. I like to just look at it. It like you said, it's something you had mentioned, like I just like looking at, it was not this piece, but another. It's just something that's soothing about it. Yeah.
And like I said earlier, like even like I'll make pieces like this now, and it's just, I don't know, for me even, it's nice to look at. It's just calming, and yeah, I don't know, that's kind of art. It's weird. I like making something calming or completely chaotic, where it's just like, wow, that doesn't even look like anything I'd make. But I don't know, it's like the night and day.
That makes sense, though. I mean, I think everything is a paradox. So
yeah, it's exploring too, right? So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Another question we have is, I'm reading this in like a more existential sense, but they said, what are the tools needed to create an art?
Oh, well, I don't know. I guess this is about digital art, so maybe it's about digital art. I mean, I don't know the tools to make, art. But like for this kind of stuff, I don't know. I started with my phone. Like I said earlier, you could start there, but if you want to take it more professionally, I would say the Adobe suite. If you have an iPad, try Procreate. I've never used it, but I hear good things about it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say probably the Adobe suite, because there's lots of material online for learning, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and for apps, I mean, you can have Photoshop on your phone. There's so many apps for toning images. I still use an app called Mextures. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's it puts overlays over your images, and I've been using that app for probably the longest, like I don't know, 2012, and I still use it for toning my my art and everything. So I recommend checking that out if you're a digital artist just starting out wanting to make your pieces look kind of cool. Check that app out.
Someone was asking what brand is your phone. I don't know if it matters. It's like if you have Creative Suite. Right?
Oh yeah, but I guess for apps, I don't know. Yeah, I use an iPhone. Yeah, I've always used an iPhone. But there are a lot of apps on the iPhone that are on Android and everything. So I can't really speak to Android, but yeah, I use an iPhone.
Sorry, we had a lot of questions, and I'm just reading them.
All good.
Do you think that digital artists needs to invest in marketing, or are you more inclined to think that their art should speak for itself?
I don't know. I don't know. Like now, it's kind of crazy. Like Instagram is a weird space. I still post my art on there, but no one sees it anymore. I mean, like if you go back to my art like 3 years ago, I would get thousands of likes. Now this piece here, 246, which is still a lot, but not anywhere near like I used to get. So I don't know. Instagram is definitely a weird space, but I think your art can speak for itself. It'll be harder on Instagram for sure, but I would say try Twitter out. Like Twitter is awesome. Use a couple of hashtags for. I mean, when I'm not posting like crypto art stuff, it'll be like I'll hashtag like digital art and art, and I think that's a good way to market yourself. I mean. I don't think a lot of artists they're not marketers, so they don't really know how to do it. But I think if you kind of just follow the trends and see what other people are doing in terms of how they market their art, I feel like you'd be successful. And I mean, at least trying to do it. Your style, I guess. I mean, that's all. I mean, that's you. But I think it's all dependent on whether. People like it and repost it, maybe buy your piece, so it's hard to say, but I mean, you definitely, if you're an artist, definitely stick your art somewhere where people can see it, because if you don't, you'll never know,
Yeah, I agree. And you can't be afraid to shill your art on Twitter. And
yeah, do it. Who cares?
Yeah, like don't do it once a week. Like, you think like, oh, I already posted about this on Monday. It's Wednesday. Like, post it again.
Yeah. Don't think about it. I wouldn't say like, oh, it's like 10 o'clock, I should post it now. No, just post it whenever you want to post it. And, like, don't be afraid to market yourself. Like it might feel weird, but I mean, how else is anyone going to see your work if you're not trying to put your work and yourself out there? So like, I still do it. And I've been doing this for like, over a decade, and I still try to market myself. So yeah, I would say, just kind of just be humble, put your ego aside, and just like, your art will speak for itself. So yeah.
I feel like also when it comes to like marketing, I guess, maybe they're asking like investing in like buying an ad on Twitter, so you can promote your post or something, which I mean, I think depending on what you're doing, like maybe that's a good idea, just because there's a lot of stuff out there. I've personally never paid for a sponsored post, but I know that it helps a lot of other people get their art and music out there. So
yeah, I would say do it. I mean, I've done it. Like there are a couple of pieces like in the past year or two that I've promoted, just because Instagram's algorithm is insane and no one sees my art, and I'm like, I want people to see my art, so whatever, I'm gonna promote it. I hope people see it. So there's no shame in paying for a post.
No, not at all. And I think that Twitter really is the space specifically for crypto art. I don't think there's any point in trying to waste your time on Facebook or anything like that. With their algorithm, you will get lost. Anything that's positive or creative or cool or encouraging people to even post where people are like, just tell me all about the cool artists that you know about, and there's no link or anything, that post there's like no likes, nobody said anything, nobody even knows the post exists. So it seems like on Twitter it's much more easier to be seen by the people that you want to be seen by.
Yeah, and I've been on Twitter now for 10 years, but I haven't really gotten into it until about like last October or November, and I just already like there's no like with Instagram. I feel like you kind of play a game of numbers and words, and like, do I have enough words in here? Am I posting at the right time? All this kind of stuff that you got. It's insane. Like as an artist, like why am I even thinking about this? But I still post my art here on Instagram, but that's why I actually really love Twitter. Is it feels like I said earlier, like Instagram again when it first started, and there's a community of people trying to lift you up, and they believe in you, and there's no, you're not crunching numbers to or what time of day should I post this so people see it. And I mean,
also it's like, which time zone does that count for? Like we have a global audience of people who are into crypto art. Like this is a 24/7 world.
It doesn't sleep. There's going to be people up at any time of the day looking at this kind of stuff. So it's funny because Instagram always tells me like noon, every day at noon is like where I get the highest traffic, and I post at noon and it's like, no one sees it. Like it's like, and then I'll post at like 8 o'clock at night and it'll explode. I'm like, I don't understand how this works. So I don't know. There's no real rhyme or reason. That's why I really enjoy Twitter. I don't really have to think too much about Instagram's, algorithm.
And I also think in addition to, if you want to invest in promoting your posts, it's also like what's more important is connecting with people and, creating like authentic friendships. Join Discords for the different communities that are out there. Get to know other artists and collectors, and that's like much more effective. I think that's more effective than paying for an ad.
Yeah, sure. 100%. And it feels real, whereas like paying for an ad does not. And I think again, going back to when Instagram first started, this community of people wanting to help you and collaborating again, like I felt like collaboration was a dead thing. And like Instagram, I hardly ever saw people collaborating on here anymore. And then I go onto Twitter and everyone wants to collaborate. Like musicians are writing digital artists and digital artists writing musicians. And, it's cool. It's really cool to see it. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of bringing new life again back into digital art. And I love to see it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like, how do you think that, artists and musicians will continue to collaborate in the NFT space? Like, we've seen like music and art NFTs, but like, where do you see that going in like 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a big question. I'm loving what I'm seeing. It's like, I feel like all these artists have grinded for so long for such little amounts of money. And, seeing these numbers come in for this art that people are collecting, it's, I don't know. It's amazing. I love to see it. I feel like it almost feels like artists are taking over the world. And I think it's amazing. Like, it's like, finally, like, you don't have someone being like, hey, I'll give you $50 to make a piece of art, and I want like 1,000 revisions on it. And just, it's the worst. I don't know.
That's dead now. It's starting to die.
And it should, because these artists making art, they deserve every single penny. I mean, you're paying for the imagination. The art itself is amazing. That's what you're looking at, but you're paying for these people's imaginations, and they deserve all the money in the world. And I think these artists collaborating together, musicians, digital artists, I think, I don't know. I think it's going to be insane to see. And I think these artists are going to explore different ways of presenting music and visuals to the world, because I mean, they own it. They're not, reporting to some business person who, wants it done in a certain way. It's their creativity. And I don't know. I think it's going to change the world for real. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is changing the world.
And it is right now. Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah. So we're already at an hour and 6 minutes. So I just want to be respectful of your time, and I guess just want to know, like, wrap it up with asking, what's coming up next for you? Do you have any drops or collaborations or events that we should know about?
I have a couple collaborations coming out soon, and some that I'm working on right now. Can't touch too much on it, but yeah, I'm collaborating with a couple artists right now. I'm finishing. I did a short film, like a visual short film, that I've been working on forever, and that's gonna come out this year because I'm just like, it has to. I've been working on it for so long, and you know, a lot of people are waiting for me to release it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be releasing that this year. That's kind of my priority right now, is my short film that I'm stoked to share with everyone. And then I did the album. I don't know if you ever heard of the band Death from Above 1979.
Yeah,
I did their new album, so that comes out this month. So
cool.
if you want to pick up a vinyl of the artwork that I did, that'd be the one.
I think you should talk to them about tokenizing the album art. And
yeah, I mean, I've seen it now. You know, like, I mean, Blau and Kings of Leon, and I mean, Shawn Mendes is doing stuff, and I don't know, Grimes is selling some art. I don't know, it's crazy. It's cool though. I love seeing it. It's just like art.
Steve Aoki too.
Oh, Steve Aoki, yeah, on Sunday tomorrow. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I don't
Super
know.
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. So yeah, and then, you know, just gonna keep doing my after work, sit down, do some art, study, whatever. I'm probably gonna try to release another piece this week on Foundation. So
sweet.
And
yeah,
that's
and people can, the best place to keep up is Twitter for you, right?
Yeah, definitely Twitter. Yeah, check me out on Twitter. I do post on Instagram, but I'm definitely way more active on Twitter now. Like, if you had a question, message me on Twitter, because I don't know, I'm not on Instagram very often because algorithms, and I just don't care enough anymore. But you can still see my art on my Instagram. But
yeah, there's a lot of beautiful work there. So if you're ever feeling bored or uninspired, just go to James's Instagram, and there is hours of beautiful stuff to look at. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to your new projects coming to light, and wishing everyone a magical day.
Yeah.
And don't forget to go to our Whale YouTube channel to see more interviews, and this is going to be up very soon. So you'll be able to watch this again if you missed anything. So have a magical day, everybody, and thanks again. Bye.
Bye.